Welcome to the Government News Brief for Wednesday, May 18, 2016. In the news, Wales Estate to play a major role in sugar industry's rebranding, media in Guyana alive and free, Region 1 to get transportation boost, and CDC to stage simulation exercise for independence celebrations. I am Azim Khan, and the details of these and other stories when the news returns. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Here are the details. The Wales Sugar Estate will not be closed but will play a major role in the rebranding of the sugar industry. Find out how in this report.
With the imminent loss of preferential prices on the international market for Guyana sugar, government is seeking to rebrand the Guyana Sugar Corporation, GAISUCO. Minister of Agriculture Noel Holder explains that the Wales Estate will play a significant role in the new GAISUCO.
We see it as an opportunity to convert the estate, that is the Wales Estate, into a model for other areas within the sugar industry diversification. We can see the factory building used to house a dairy plant, to house a juice production plant. We could see the land being used for dairy production.
He says the West Demerara Estate is not being closed.
Wales factory, which is the oldest in the country and very relatively inefficient, will be converted to other uses. So it hasn't been a closure of Wales Estate. It has been a closure at the end of this year. Wales factory is working right now. At the end of this year, the factory will be closed and the cultivations will be joined with IFLOP for maximum production.
Lands which will become available through the merging of the estates will be reassigned to private farmers.
We could see the land being used for dairy production, and we can see some land being made available to people in the West Bobbies area, so they could farm and provide milk, provide fruit juices and things of that nature into the system. And we would want to see that replicated on other estates.
GAISUCO is a major employer in the agricultural sector. It is heavily dependent on subventions, hence, government is seeking to diversify and rebrand the entity to make it viable. For a Government News Brief, I am Kidaki, Amsterdam.
There is need for a comprehensive policy to clearly define what public information is, says Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu. More in this report.
Prime Minister Nagamutu, who has responsibility for the information sector, says this information policy will provide balanced coverage without discrimination.
I share the views of President Granger that we need to look at a situation where you can give coverage in a balanced and fair way to political parties without discrimination. You must give them space, because they are part of the system of governance. And our system of governance is based on inclusivity.
Prime Minister Nagamutu noted that there needs to be a clear delimitation of public information, which will be outlined in the information policy.
I intend to be able to look at public information from that point of view, to keep opening up the space and not to close in on any section, political as well as in the social partners.
Prime Minister Nagamutu says dissemination of information is always a public responsibility. He points out that taxpayers should be told how their monies are being spent. The Prime Minister notes that challenges remain in allowing journalists to work professionally without interference. He is, however, satisfied with the diversity of local media. For the Government News Brief, I'm Tiffany Rogers.
Government is working to create a new fleet of vessels to facilitate better transportation in Region 1. Details in this report.
Residents of Port Kaituma and Mabaruma Region 1 will benefit from improved transportation services. Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Annette Ferguson, says that the Transport and Harbours Department has been operating with old vessels and government plans to replace them.
What the government is currently doing, we're trying to at least get a new fleet of vessel to provide a more efficient and effective service for those persons who are living in the Region 1 district.
Despite the many challenges facing the 85-year-old Transport and Harbours Department, Minister Ferguson says that additional staffing will remedy the situation.
It has its own challenges. in terms of capacity building, in terms of finances, and I can go on and on. But as the minister with responsibility for transportation, my whole focus is to have transport restructured. As we currently speak, the manager, the general manager, there is no deputy within that agency. So the manager, the general manager, is currently responsible for admin matters, likewise operational matters on a daily basis. And I mean, she's overwhelmed. So what I would want to see is the hiring of a deputy to ease some of the burden that she is confronted with on a daily basis.
New vessels and additional staffing will enhance the transportation facilities provided for the residents in Region 1. Renetta LaFleur with Government News Brief.
Barbicians benefit from specialized surgeries through Chinese Medical Brigade. Shivani Rampasal tells us more.
A 9-member team of doctors from the 11th Chinese Medical Brigade completed 13 specialized surgeries at the New Amsterdam Hospital. Guyanese have been benefiting since the advent of the Chinese Medical Brigade, which brings specialized skills. 1 spinal, 5 eyes, 3 gynecological and 4 general surgeries were successfully completed on Tuesday. The spinal surgery was a major one since this type is not common at the New Amsterdam Hospital.
Since 2014, our medical team come here. I have performed near 100 spinal surgeons in GPHC. But in New Amsterdam Hospital, they really perform spine surgeries.
The team comprised general, orthopedic and plastic surgeons, a radiologist, a pathologist, internal medical specialists, general medical officers and gynecologists were also part of the team. A quantity of medical supplies including cardiac and infant monitors, surgical instruments and protective gloves was also donated to the hospital by the Medical Brigade. For this Government News Brief, Shivani Rampasad reporting.
Works are ongoing in the aviation sector to boost domestic operations. Find out how in this report from Renetta LaFleur.
The Ministry of Public Infrastructure has embarked on upgrading hinterland airstrips and runways to boost domestic operations. Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson says enhancing domestic operations is very important for connecting the coastland to the hinterland.
We've actually started. We went out to about, I would say so far we've inspected about 12 to 14. What they're doing is the major ones, we are inspecting, checking the facilities, the actual runway, but not only that, safety.
Additional hubs will be established to give travelers more choices. Minister Patterson explains.
They're looking at the possibility of making some of them into major hubs, like Ikeruku Bottom, I know is for one. I think they're the one at Kato, I think they're the other one. And by that, what we're going to make it a hub, so therefore the aircrafts can be stationed there. We want to make it cheaper for airline travelers. Instead of every flight originating out of Ogle, we want to have these hubs, and then from these hubs you can shuttle across.
Works are expected to be completed shortly on the airstrips.
It's about 50% complete. We want to be completed by the end of July. There'll be scheduled flights to the major hubs. So therefore, and then from there you can hop and go. So therefore, for the really outlying airstrips, when you're talking Parabara and those places, either we have to charter airplane now from Ogle. You actually would only have to go to the nearest hub, and you can get a short hop to the airstrip.
In the 2016 budget, over $1 billion was budgeted to upgrade the hinterland airstrips. Etteringbang and Kurupong Region 7, Paramakatoy, Kato, Kopinang, Monkey Mountain, and Madhya Region 8, and Anna Region 9 are some of the hinterland airstrips slated for rehabilitation. Renetta LaFleur, Government News Brief.
The Civil Defense Commission will be conducting a simulation exercise of mass casualty management at Jubilee Park on Saturday, May 21, 2016. The public is advised that this activity is part of the Commission's preparation for Guyana's 50th independence anniversary. Members of the public are asked not to be alarmed, since this activity is only staging of a casualty and not an actual one. It is part of the CDC's mass casualty plan in preparation for any emergency during the Jubilee Independence celebrations. That concludes today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on GINA's website. We encourage you to subscribe to our website and YouTube channel. You can also like and follow us on Facebook to be updated as the news unfolds. Remember, we are 8 days away from our Independence Jubilee celebrations. Stay connected to GINA as we bring you updates on the activities for the grand celebrations. Do join us again tomorrow evening for another edition of the Government News Brief. Thank you for watching.